Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Perry, come on up. Good morning. February, our ministry theme is love, as it is, thank you, as it is one of the proposed values for Article 2. We're cycling through those, but as the theme is love, our spectacular musicians, Gary this morning, are playing a lot of love songs for our gathering music. And so to start the morning with Misty, what's better than that, right? Our youth group is at St. Mary's this morning, and they didn't start with Misty, we can be sure. And so we revel in who we are as a congregation and who St. Mary's is too. We love our siblings in faith. And we celebrate love. And we go down, down, down this morning. We learn more and more about how to open our hearts to ourselves and to the world. And so welcome to All Souls, where all souls are welcome. You are joyfully called this morning and every Sunday to worship. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit. This month is Black History Month, and so we begin with the beautiful Black spiritual, gonna lay down my sword and shield. So let's hold in heart what we are singing as we do. And as we lay down our burdens, we rise up in peace. It is the moment when we turn to each other and offer each other that sign of peace. If you are here for the first time, please raise your hand so that we may welcome you appropriately. We see you. Welcome. Welcome. So 2 over here. Yes, welcome. We see you. We see you. And those of you in the online chat, if you are there for the first time, please let us know in the chat. We will welcome you there. Let us offer each other a greeting of peace. Peace be with you all. There are quite a few people here this morning who we haven't seen for a long while, and you know who you are. I won't call you out, but it's really good to see you. It's really good to see you.
We acknowledge the Nahantic, Mohegan, Mashantucket Pequot, and Eastern Pequot people as the traditional caretakers of the land on which we worship. We honor and pay respect to these tribes, their ancestors, and their lineage, who today uphold traditional practices, art, and education. Each Sunday, sorry, was a little winded because I left my microphone in Carolyn's office, so I had to sprint down the hallway and back in the time it takes the singing bowl to chime. It was amazing. So we light our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, and a symbol of peace and justice. And this morning, we call up Bridget to light our chalice. And we say these words together. When we walk the path in silence, when we admire the garden, the bees, and the grass, when we sit by the river and look at the water, when we watch the clouds and simply enjoy what we see, we discover the basic goodness of all beings. We discover the love that will not die.
Kyle Murphy is serving as our liturgist this morning, and he will light our peace candle. Usually it's really easy to know to whom and to what country, to what area we are lighting a peace candle. And it was hard to decide this morning because there is so much turmoil and devastation throughout our world. And so this morning we light our peace candle for peace-loving people everywhere, in Iran, in Gaza, in Israel, in Iraq, in Syria, in Yemen, in all of the places where people yearn for peace and security and justice. May it be so, and may we say together, amen. Amen. Let's take in a breath. I found this beautiful book over the summer. Thank you, Miyuki, it is called. And you'll see very quickly what it is a story about. It's largely about meditation and what it means to meditate. And Miyuki learns from her grandfather what that means. It's also a story that I hope will guide us through a series of ideas about what it means to open one's heart and to travel the inward journey down, down, down. Eileen and her husband Patrick shared a saying with me last week that is, meditation, it's not what you think. And so this story is very much helping us to understand, to quiet what is called our monkey minds, and to meditate. And so Harry and Kyle and I will share with you. You ready, Perry?
Yep.
Okay. There we go.
Grandpa wakes early to greet the wind. Close on his heels, Miyuki tries to mimic him. Arm in the air, right foot lifted, she falls to the ground.
Grandpa, Tai Chi is too hard.
Content and smiling, Grandpa dances slowly, his arms drawing curves in the sky. Miyuki bounces up and down, restless.
Grandpa, let's do something else.
Patience, Miyuki. Can't you see I'm taking care of myself?
I can take care of you too, Grandpa. I'll make you some tea.
Miyuki flutters away, quick as a butterfly, to make some tea. She moves so fast, she startles the sleeping birds on her painted porcelain tea set. But Grandpa doesn't hear her clattering.
Grandpa, it's ready. Grandpa, are you sleeping?
Grandpa sits peacefully, his legs crossed, his eyes closed. He doesn't move when Miyuki waves a fan, cooling his face. When he finally opens his eyes, Miyuki is still as a statue.
What is it, Miyuki?
Grandpa, I made some tea for you.
Thank you, but I just want to take a moment to meditate.
What's meditate? Is it a game? Teach me. I want to meditate too.
Very well, Miyuki. Let's drink the delicious tea you kindly made.
When do we start to meditate, Grandpa?
Without a word, Grandpa stands up and begins to walk calmly down the garden path. Miyuki follows him. While Grandpa regards the ground beneath his feet, Miyuki bounds ahead of him.
When do we start to meditate, Grandpa?
Grandpa takes Miyuki's hand, and together they watch the bees hovering, the stones standing still, the grass slowly growing. Then they reach the river. Grandpa watches the water. Miyuki throws in twigs and watches them float away.
When do we start to meditate, Grandpa?
Miyuki, look at the water. Not the flow, not the twigs floating by, only the water in front of your eyes.
Grandpa lies down in the soft grass, and Miyuki nestles against him. When Miyuki looks at the clouds, she sees thousands of shapes.
I see a fox, a hen, no, a lamb, a horse, a bird. What do you see, Grandpa?
Grandpa smiles, satisfied just to be lying in the warm sun, feeling each blade of grass beneath him, with Miyuki at his side.
I see a cloud, Miyuki. A cloud watching a grandfather and his granddaughter.
Miyuki looks at the clouds again and tries to see just clouds, but her mind wanders.
Grandpa, does this little cloud have a grandfather too?
Yes, Miyuki, and I'm sure that he's watching over her.
When little raindrops begin to fall, Grandpa doesn't move. Laughing, he opens his mouth to taste them, and Miyuki does too. As the day gets dressed for the night, Grandpa and Miyuki take a tranquil walk back home. In front of the garden gate, Grandpa stops to smell a rose before it closes. Grandpa shows Miyuki the rose, and she closes her eyes and breathes in its sweet perfume.
But Grandpa, when will we meditate?
Miyuki, we have meditated all day long. When we walked on the path in silence, admiring the garden, the bees, and the grass, we meditated. When we sat by the river and looked at the water in front of us, we meditated. When we watched the clouds without changing them into anything else, simply appreciating what we saw, we meditated.
And when we tasted the tea and the rainwater, we meditated?
Yes.
And when we smelled the rose, we meditated?
Yes.
Grandpa, we have meditated.
Yes, Miyuki, we have.
Grandpa, doesn't it feel good to be here right now?
Yes, my dear girl, it feels good to be here right now with you. Thank you, Miyuki.
Miyuki breathes in, and Miyuki meditates. Thus ends the story. So let's all do it. Let's all just close our eyes for a moment and take a deep breath in. And let it out slowly. Let's do it one more time. Just breathe in. And let it out. Now we're ready for worship. So the children and I are actually going to go to our classes where we are going to do our own types of meditation, including with origami and mindfulness. And so if you could mindfully sing us out, that would be great.
To tell a quick story. This story reminds me so much of Laura Fitch's memorial service. Some of you long-timers remember beloved, dear Laura Fitch. So we had a memorial service, and it was kind of a glowing kind of feel in the room, as she was so glowing in life. And at the end, a soul approached me and said, "There's a friend of Laura's here who is very disappointed that she didn't hear a prayer during this memorial service." And I said, the whole service was a prayer. So let us be reminded of all the ways that we use these words and all of the ways that we enter into these practices, and how the beautiful lyric of "O Come, Come, Emmanuel," that says that every act should be a prayer, right? So let us enter into this circle of care, holding that in our hearts. We share our joy and sorrow to bear witness into each other's lives, and knowing that both may exist simultaneously. And so those of you in Unity Hall, you are welcome to come forward at this time and light a candle of intention. Those of you in the online pews, please do so in the chat. Vanessa will give you a couple more instructions. There are about 30 households in the online pews this morning. We forgot to wave to them. No time like the present. We see you, welcome. And so we open this circle and this time to hold the joy and the sorrow that is life. So we begin with the book found in the lobby. We begin with Tony Sromosky here this morning, who is asking us for prayers for his daughter Mags and grandson Casimir. Did I pronounce that correctly, Tony? Yes, Casimir, who will be having their first apartment, so blessings and guidance to follow it through. Yeah, welcome home to them, Tony. May it be a safe and peaceful home. Anna Praise Sussler asks us to pray for world peace, and we will, Anna. Every week we will. Peggy Flood is remembering her beloved nephew Thomas, who was killed by a drunk driver 15 years ago this week. Oh, that grief just never goes away, right? Nope. Nope. I know. I know. And in the online pews, let's see what you have to say, dear souls. Carol Bunting expresses her gratitude for the visit that she had last week with her 98-year-old father. Hooray for you, so lucky. Kate Treadwell Hill is expressing her gratitude that she has become semi-mobile with a big black boot. Yes. Yay, hooray. That's fantastic, Kate. Maria Bryce has a simple joy. Maria saw her mother in Virginia. Yes. Hooray for safe travels back and forth, Maria, and welcome home. Welcome home. Grace is asking for healing prayers and giving thanks for all of her blessings and the beautiful music. Gary, that was beautiful. More, so beautiful. Good memories, yes. And Jeff Sorois says good morning and shares that he is thankful today as the last day of his 24-week program of chemotherapy. He's thanking us for our good thoughts and prayers. I understand that feeling, Jeff, and so many good thoughts and congratulations. It's good to ring that bell. Radha is wishing how she could be right here with us right now. Tears of joy running down her face. We feel you here, Radha, and we remember you here with your beloved husband. Tammy Barber, our wonderful office administrator, says 4 years ago tomorrow, her mother passed away. It seems as if it was only yesterday. Tammy expresses her love for her mother, who was never far from her thoughts. Tammy says we will chat in her dreams, and she's looking forward to that. Yes. As I just said, Tammy, it never goes away, that grief, but neither does the gratitude, right? The gratitude and the love. So, we have that. Let us enter into a communion of prayer and meditation that will be followed by silence, and then we will sing. Blessed Spirit of life and of love, in all the ways known and named and yet impossible to name. This morning we're going to lay down our burdens so that they may be held and picked up by those around us. May these burdens that lay heavily on our hearts be lightened for this moment, be integrated for all time. And may the joy here expressed be multiplied. Buoy our hearts on this sunshiny winter day. May the blue sky above us remind us of our good fortune to be alive right now. We give thanks for this day, for this opportunity, for this blessing of gathering together. We give thanks and we say, Amen. Amen. we will close this circle singing through 3 times the meditation on breathing. If you'd like to follow along in the hymnal, it's 109. Gary will play it through once as we begin.
Today's reading is from Comfortable with Uncertainty by Pema Chodron. Spiritual awakening is frequently described as a journey to the top of a mountain. We leave our attachments and our worldliness behind and slowly make our way to the top. At the peak, we have transcended all pain. The only problem with this metaphor is that we leave all others behind. Their suffering continues, unrelieved by our personal escape. On the journey of the warrior Bodhisattva, the path goes down, not up, as if the mountain pointed toward the earth instead of the sky. Instead of transcending the suffering of all creatures, we move toward turbulence and doubt however we can. We explore the reality and unpredictability of insecurity and pain, and we try not to push it away. If it takes years, if it takes lifetimes, we let it be as it is. At our own pace, without speed or aggression, we move down and down and down. With us move millions of others, our companions in awakening from fear. At the bottom, we discover water, the healing water of bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is our heart, our wounded, softened heart. Right down there in the thick of things, we discover the love that will not die. This love is bodhicitta. It is gentle and warm. It is clear and sharp. It is open and spacious. The awakened heart of bodhicitta is the basic goodness of all things. So ends the reading.
What better moment to be considering the journey inward than on a gray winter day, such as it was every day last week. But this Friday, as I sat down to begin to write, inward I went, down, 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 to the place, as Pema said, that is open and spacious, where I hope, week after week, that there I will find something restorative to share with all of you. So this morning, let us together go down, down, down to the open and spacious path that leads to the muck of life, to the richness of life, however challenging. The journey inward is often chided in our multifaceted culture. The phrase navel gazing comes to mind. Let's start with our loved ones. Perhaps you have dearly beloveds in your life who don't quite get what you're doing here every Sunday morning. Or at the meditation group, the Sangha, every Tuesday morning. Or at your yoga class. Or with that journal you carry around with you wherever you go. Or folks who don't quite get why you signed up for that silent retreat. I wonder how Mary felt when Jesus announced over Sunday dinner that he was going to go out to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. Or what Henry David Thoreau's father said upon hearing that his son was building a cabin in the woods and fleeing Concord. More recently, I think of Matthew, the young man who years ago I told you about one Christmas Eve. I met him at Boston South Station after he had just completed hiking the entire Appalachian Trail. He had had it, he told me, with the world's suffering and his own. And so, with absolutely no prior hiking experience, with no sense of what lay ahead, he hit the trail because he was, and I quote, mad at God. But really, he hit the trail because he needed to find his way home. But before he stepped foot on the trail, his mother was none too happy with her son's plan. And I know this because I asked him. So the journey inward is frequently unsupported, misunderstood. Sometimes it is with good reason. Many embark on the inward journey and head up the mountain, thereby leaving all the suffering behind. There may be some energetic instinct, but not so much in the way of mindful discernment. In her wisdom, which is grounded in Tibetan Buddhism, Pema Chodron points us downward, as you heard in the reading, instead. This reminds me, I'm starting to hear more in AA and recovery circles, rather than a higher power, the deeper power. Have some of you heard that? The deeper power, my deeper power. Pema encourages in the seeker a curiosity about all things that disturb us, for in the things that disturb us, there are lessons to be learned. So who is Pema? Kate, my spouse, participated in meditation sessions and took classes at the Dharma Dhatu Center in New York City before we moved to Berkeley, California, where I went to seminary. In Berkeley, right in our neighborhood, there was another Sangha. And so she took classes there, and after taking a course load of classes, she made the decision to take her refuge vow. So in other words, to dedicate her life to the three jewels, the Buddha, the Sangha, and the Dharma. The Buddha, the ultimate refuge, the Sangha, the community of Buddhists, and the Dharma, which is the path, what we learn. So I went to the ceremony, of course, and it was simple and deeply moving. Present in the room was this sense of humility and solemnity. And I tell you this story to share the effect that Pema had on the people who were present, me among them. Pema is a nun, a teacher, she's a writer. Her books are engaging, right, Helen? Engaging, accessible, poetic, and yes, they are frequently funny. How many of you have read Pema? Yeah, quite a few of you. Those of you in the online pews, raise your hand in the chat. There are 48 households now in the online pews. It's a big Sunday for the online pews. Pema translates for a Western audience while maintaining the integrity of the tradition. So she was to be the ordained nun to receive these requests to formally become part of the Buddhist community. And I didn't know what to expect. This is a new tradition for me. I was completely moved, had been by Pema's writings. Would light emanate from her very being? Would she be like her books, deep and straight talking? Or would she be more aloof or shy, perhaps? She was a former and more. The room didn't fill with light when she entered the room, but she did seem to kindle everyone else's light, something we all hope that we can do, right, in our lives. She spoke with a self-assurance that was warm and encouraging. And the respected and renowned teacher, she did something that made us feel comfortable in her presence. I assume that she knows the effect that she has on people. To lighten up this moment, she tossed a small handful of rice used in the ritual at one of the Sangha's helpers. She just threw it at him. And everyone laughed, none more than her, and with a twinkle in her eye. I watched her closely, as everyone did. I wanted to witness her countenance as one as wise as she. And what did I see from someone who spent so much time in that inward journey down, down, down? What did I see? I saw a mom, a teacher, regular person, granted a regular person who has dedicated her life to the inner journey, to spiritual awakening. But it's clear that to Pema, the inward journey is nothing if not relational. The way of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition is very clear. We are meant to be in relationship with our fellow humans. We are not meant to leave the hard parts of our lives behind to journey up the mountain. We are to journey down to the valley where, like ourselves, millions of others are just trying to get home. There we will find others, like ourselves, who are struggling with mental illness, with loneliness, with grief, with addiction. There we will all witness suffering, for life is suffering. So says Buddhism's first noble truth. And we are not meant to flee from suffering. This tradition is not about fight or flight. It is about engaging with the object of our suffering and that of others. Pema invites us to consider this wisdom. These are her words. Maybe we don't like the way reality is now and therefore wish it would just go away fast. But what we find is that nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. If we run 100 miles an hour to the other end of the continent in order to get away from the obstacle, we find the very same problem welcoming us on the other side. It just keeps returning with new names, forms, and manifestations, Pema says, until we learn, again, whatever it is, it has to teach us about where we are separating ourselves from reality, how we are pulling back instead of opening up, closing down, instead of allowing ourselves to experience fully whatever we encounter without hesitating or retreating into ourselves. It's the end of her quote. Who of us has taken to the open road, literally or metaphorically, to separate ourselves from our reality, only to find the same challenges greeting us when we've reached our destination? I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I think I know. We all know, right? We will not save ourselves from running from ourselves. The first life we save must be whose? Our own. So here's a story from one coming of age session years and years ago. We're doing a type of exercise, some of you have probably done this, called forced choice, right? Those of you who are teachers, you know this. Question is posed, and there's a continuum set up in response. And so the youth are invited to place themselves where they think the answer to this question is along the continuum. So the subject on this session is Unitarian Universalist values. What they are, how to live in accordance with those values. And so the question was, save yourself, save the world. Save yourself, save the world. Save the world was on this side, save yourself was on this side. And as you can imagine, a very interesting debate ensued. You can't save others if you can't save yourself, says one of the arguments. By saving others, you'll save yourself, went another argument. So here's my 2 cents, borrowed from another industry. If you are traveling with a child, or someone who resists, who requires assistance, what do you do first? Secure your own mask, right? And then assist the other person. The inward journey to spiritual awakening, to the open heart, to the love that will not die, requires that we take care of ourselves, but always in relationship to other people. Our life's call is to journey down to the mountain, down the mountain of spiritual awakening. Along the way, we will encounter turbulence and trouble, insecurity and pain, because that's life. That's the human condition. And the inward journey invites us to investigate the turbulence, the trouble, the insecurity, the pain. No matter how long it takes us to find the lessons in it all. It may take years. It doesn't matter. We are on the path. And we do so in the company of millions of others, as Pema said. We do not ignore suffering, thinking that by doing so, it doesn't exist and it will go away. That is magical thinking. The inward journey requires eyes wide open. It requires courage and patience, because as Pema says, we are awakening from fear. Fear puts us to sleep. It prevents us from seeing and feeling much of anything other than fear itself. And we are living in a time, I don't have to tell you this, we are living in a time of great fear, understandably, great fear. Kevin Kling is a soulful writer who I adore. He said that for a child, fear is black and white. It comes and goes. But as we get older, fear is gray, and it is constant. And there are people in the world who are banking and thriving on our fear. And sometimes people like that run for president. So the inward journey is not an easy path. But what choice do we have, friends? To escape from fear or to steep in fear? Let us choose to move down the mountain to the cool waters of open hearts, to the love that will not die. That's how you keep fear at bay, by listening to the wisdom of the wise ones like Pema and the beloved 3-year-old child in your life, the teenager on really good days, by holding close to the suffering of others and considering what there is to learn from their suffering as well as our own. We travel down, down, down until at the bottom we discover water, as Pema said, the healing water of bodhicitta, our hearts, our wounded, softened hearts. Right down there in the thick of things, we discover the love that will not die. The awakened heart, the basic goodness of all things. The journey down is where we find love that will not die, the love of our wounded and softened hearts. May it be so, and I'll see you on the way down the mountain. Amen. Amen. Let us enter into a moment of silence so that we may breathe. Let's take a breath. Breathe in peace and breathe out love. We move to our offering. You see that there is a reminder here. We have a new bookkeeper who doesn't know your giving patterns at all. And so it is always important, but especially important now, that if you are donating by check, to put in the memo what it's for. Your pledge this year, your pledge next year, a good neighbor offering, just an offering, whatever it is, put it in the memo. Okay, so there's that. Don't forget that. Very important. The other is a stewardship update. We had our kickoff last Sunday. How wonderful was that pancake breakfast? Oh my goodness. I'm still floating from that pancake breakfast. And it wasn't the pancakes, as great as they were. It was the feeling in that room, right? Just incredible. So this is the good news. Total households, 63 households have already submitted their financial commitment, their pledge for next year, totaling $245,000 and $230. So 245,230. A reminder, our goal is 446,000. We are almost there. Please get your financial commitment forms as soon as you can. It is so much fun serving on the stewardship committee. You know what's not fun? Chasing after you if you haven't turned in your financial equipment, commitment. So please do that for the sake of your friends who are serving so dedicatedly on that committee. Let us say these words together. We give to the work of all souls. Our work weaves the fabric of love called community. To this end, we dedicate ourselves and this our offering. One more thing but there are pledge forms on the table, and you can also do the online pledging. Those of you in the online pews, that link has been put into the chat. Thank you all. someone to watch over me. Oh, the music today, Gary. You're just picking just the most beautiful song. Thank you, Gary, and thank all of you for all that you have shared and all that you have sacrificed for filling out your financial commitment forms. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to rise in body and or in spirit and join our voices in singing the hymn, Filled with Loving Kindness. Note that we will sing it 3 times, and the second and third time, one word changes. It changes from may I to may you for the second verse, and may we for the third. All right? I invite you to rise.
Let us say the words as we extinguish the chalice. Our worship has ended, but our service is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. The chalice flame is extinguished until once again ignited by the strength
of our communion. And so we open our hearts by opening our arms to the greater world as we travel down, down, down to investigate suffering, to investigate that suffering of others and our own. May we lay down our burdens and pick up the journey down and inward to the love that does not die. Go in peace and return again with great joy. Amen. Amen. I invite you to be seated for the postlude. In case you don't know the deeply poignant story about that song, it was the last song that George Gershwin composed before he died at age 38. Think of the body of work we have from George Gershwin. He was 38 when he died. He had written the music, he composed the music, and his brother Ira wrote that lyric for his brother in his death. So that's one of my favorite songs for that reason, right? It's just these two brothers. Just incredible. Let's hear it for the Gershwins. I just love them. Just love them. All right. Here are the announcements for today. If you're interested in the Unitarian Universalist letter writing to encourage people to vote, that group of people is meeting in the Vail Library for encouragement and next plans. So head to the Vail Library to do that. The Education Funding Reform Group is meeting again today. Oh, that's fantastic. In the Nash Room, Chris Cluett is leading that conversation. I'm preaching next week. I'm going to be talking a lot about the heart of Universalist theology being love and what that history is. So I'm enjoying diving into that, which is fun. Reminder that Friday Night Folk is February 16th. It is a John Prine and Nancy Griffith tribute, and all the money raised from that concert is going to the Southeastern Connecticut Community Land Trust. Claire Avento serves on that board. Myrna Martinez, another member of the congregation, is the executive director. We have a lot of connections. It's a great organization, so plan to come. We're going to get a little sneak preview of the concert for the postlude next week, a little tease. And if you're new today, there are a couple of you who are here for the first time. Lynn is over at the welcome table waving to you, and she will be there to answer your questions about Unitarian Universalism and about All Souls. I think that is everything. I'm going to sign off to the folks at home. Thank you for being with us from the online pews, and go to our new community room and have a cup of coffee. I'm just so happy. Good to see you all. See you next week.